Welcome to Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we're going to show you how to do the front pads and rotors on this 2020 Hyundai Palisade. It's going to apply from 2020 all the way to 2025. This may also apply to Kia Tellurides. Let's get to it. Alright, parts and tools needed are going to be the rotors and the pads, as well as some brake cleaner and some brake grease, a C-clamp or a disc compression tool, a jack stand, as well as a 21mm socket for the lug nuts if you're using a breaker bar or impact, 17mm socket and a 14mm socket, as well as a wrench, a regular socket wrench, and an impact driver. All right, we're going to go ahead and jack up our vehicle on the jack point here. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take off our lug nuts. If you're using a lug wrench or a breaker bar, make sure that you have the wheel on the ground first, loosen up the lug nuts, and then jack it up in the air, and then just loosen up the remaining. But since we have an impact, we're gonna just do this in the air. Okay, give her a pop, pull it off. All right, so what I like to do, because it's a lot easier with the fronts, is that typically, obviously, the bolts and stuff are behind here. And it's a lot easier if you turn the wheel all the way to the direction that it will point outwards. So on this side, I'm just gonna turn it all the way to the right. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so obviously I should have put the jack stand in there before I turned the vehicle tire, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do that real quick. I'm just gonna put it on the bottom of the subframe where the lower control arm mounts, and I'll lower it down just a slight bit. Okay, now we have a lot easier access to the caliper bolts, and then once we take this off, we'll have a lot more easier access to the bracket bolts for the caliper. So I believe this is going to be a 14. All right, let's see if I can get my impact in there. We should be able to go ahead and get this slid off. All right. We're replacing this, even though the pads look pretty much new. The owner is complaining about a noise, and I believe there is a little bit of shake in the wheel, which would indicate that there's a warped rotor, even though the rotors don't look that old. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this bracket here. I believe that's a 17. Okay. Wonderful. Now, we do have on the rotor itself here these lovely screws, the rotor hold down screws, so we're just going to go ahead and get our impact driver on that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get our impact driver here. We've got the correct Phillips head bit, and we're just going to hit it with our screwdriver and hope that it comes out. Okay, go ahead and get the second one here. Okay, hopefully the rotor will come right off, but it doesn't seem like it wants to. So we're gonna go ahead and hit it around the hat. Let's see if I can get it from the back here. Now that it's off, we'll go ahead and get the replacement rotor. All right, so before we go ahead and install our new rotor, we're gonna go ahead and clean off the anti-rust grease that they put on there. Just gonna use some brake cleaner, give it a nice little wipe. Okay, I'll go back to the vehicle. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and install the rotor with these matching up where those rotor screws were earlier. These ones are heavy. Okay, and just to make it easier for us, go ahead and put these in. Okay. Now we're going to go to the caliper bracket here. I'm going to go ahead and take off the pads. So look at the location of the squealer. If you want to match those up. So we're going to see if we can pop this out. I'm going to go ahead. They have these little stupid tabs. Looks like it's just easier to just pull it out from the inside. So you go ahead and spray these down. And then we're going to go ahead and lube up these guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a spray down. Okay. And then if your kit includes these, which ours does, but I like to use the original hardware, just because sometimes when you take them out and put the ones that they give you, they squeal or they'll rub on something even if you try to get it right. So now we're going to go ahead and take out the slide pin. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and grease it up. My grease is a little dirty, but it still works. Okay. Let's make sure it slides in and it pops like that. Now we'll go ahead and get this one out too. Okay, insert until it pops in place, just like that. And then we'll go ahead and put our replacement pads on there, since it's going to be a lot easier than fumbling with it on the actual when it's mounted. So I believe this is how it is, and if I remember correctly, we'll match it up with our old pad here. Got it in the same position here, so we should be able to go ahead and get that squeezed in just like that. Okay, then we'll get the other pad here. Oh, that one has the squealer. We don't want to put that there, so put the one that doesn't have the squealer on it right here. Wonderful. Now we'll go ahead and install the bracket. So obviously I was blind, so let's redo this one here because it had it on the, actually I want to make sure. Yeah, so it should be okay. Let me put that back on the bottom. Okay. We all make mistakes, and just as long as you catch it, that's really what's most important. And we'll go ahead and put the bracket in place. And I'll squeeze the pads in just so that they're there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. Now we got to go ahead and compress the piston here. Looks like it's all gummed up and everything like that, so I'm just going to try to give it a little spray down. All right, I'm going to get a C-clamp, or you can use a disc compressor tool. I'm going to get an old brake pad there. And we're going to go ahead and compress that in. All right, should bottom out. I should be able to go ahead and put the caliper in there pretty easily. May need to push in the pins to line it up, just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and get our the bolts here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the 14 millimeter bolts in there. Go ahead and get it tightening down. Then we'll go ahead and turn the wheel straight and pump the brakes so that the piston extends out. So, because if you don't do that and you try to move the car, the pedal is going to go straight to the floor and the car won't stop. So we'll do that while we're turning the wheel. All right, we're going to go ahead and start the vehicle. Just going to go ahead and pump the brake until it stiffens up. Usually it's about like 3 or 4 times, but I like to just give it extra pumps just in case. I turn the wheel straight and we'll shut off the vehicle. Let's go ahead and put the wheel on. All right, let's get the tire on. Okay, so if you're doing this with a lug wrench or a breaker bar, just understand that you need to tighten them up as best as you can, but not all the way, and then lower it partially where the tire is touching the ground, and then fully torque it down. All right, so make sure you pull out your jack stand. We already did that off camera. Now we're gonna go ahead and lower the vehicle, and that's it, we're done. Thank you for watching Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we showed you how to replace the front pads and rotors on this 2020 Hyundai Palisade. It's gonna apply from 2020 all the way to 2025 and may also apply to Kia Tellurides. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.